Good afternoon. Most welcome, and I'm very happy to be able to come here. Thank you very much for your invitation again. And we didn't meet, I think, more or less 2 years. 2 years, that's right. So it's nice to be back. And as usual, I feel also, of course, very much home feeling. And so, welcome all of you. So, I'm supposed to give a talk about so-called secular ethics. So, I don't know how should I to start that, because my mind is not very clear, and because of my traveling, and jet lags, and so I feel a little bit some sort of dozy. So therefore it's a bit so. And maybe it's now Germany is 8 o'clock in the morning. No, 8 o'clock, yes, in the morning. So maybe I fall asleep, and I hope you don't mind if I fall asleep again. Yes. And I had one interesting experience in the 1960, maybe 1961 or 2, this time in Dharamsala, India. There's one great Satyapa master who was over 80, and he came from Tibet. He brought from Tibet on the human back, because he was so old he couldn't move, actually. He couldn't walk properly, and his attendant brought carry on back. And he was a great teacher. He was also teacher of great Pabonka. So this must be, that means it must be very, how should I say, respectful teacher. So then I would like to receive from him a set of Mahakala's empowerments. There are 17 jhanas. And then I made a request, and he said, no, because of my old age I couldn't do, but among these 17 there are 3 is main, so I'll give you these 3. And then I was very delighted and happy to went to him, his place, a little bit down there, and on the appointment, so to say. And then he don't sleep in the proper way, no, just sitting and then sleep, day and night. And he wears some clothes, because he comes out a little bit, things so just like baby, and a big, what's his name of that? Big, yes. And then he starts very nicely, and he has very powerful voice, very powerful voice. And after some times, he falls asleep. Yeah, he falls asleep, and totally sleep, and then snoring, of course. It belongs to the together, and then maybe it takes 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and then no one dare to wake him up. And then after some minutes, he just walked and looked, and then started, not a repetition, but correct time, right time, where he slept, where he stopped and slept, right? So continuously, maybe another 10 minutes or so, then again sleep. So for one jhana, it takes few hours. All in all. So that was quite interesting. So therefore, I hope that I won't be asleep. But so anyway, Um, so first, I think I just try to explain a little bit the word ethics, secular and ethics, secular. And this is one of my great friends and my classmate, Sandor Rinpoche, and very, very learned and very, he's extremely good for scholarly and extremely good for the understanding of general Buddhism, practice and everything. And he's very much all round. So I don't think there's any other. He doesn't have any competition in other teachers or whatever, right? He's very good. And since our time in Tibet, he was also already very, very advanced with his knowledge, but his debating, he wasn't that much enthusiasm to the debating, but from the understanding is very deep and very, very good, very good. We have different teachers. And but still, we're meeting every day in the debating places. And debating places, we are sitting all classmates together and debating each other. So otherwise, during the so-called, there's two possibilities on the gathering, monks gathering in the monasteries, right? One is so-called dry gathering. Another one is a wet gathering. Wet gathering means oneself's tea. And a dry gathering is without tea. That's the name is official terminology. So during the dry gathering, people sit, all classmates together. But during the wet gathering, so we have different places. So however, someone asked Rinpoche, what do you think and what is secular ethics? And he gave an answer, secular ethic, about secular ethic, the Dalai Lama explained it very detailed in his books, Dalai Lama books. That means the name of the book is Ethics for the New Millennium. This is one of his Dalai Lama's ethics of New Millennium. And there's another title I have. Maybe it appears afterwards. I can't remember now. Yes. Anyway, never mind. Then. This Dalai Lama's book, Dalai Lama's explanation, Dalai Lama's understanding about secular ethics is postmodern civilization. It is very profound and very most important, showing the meaning and understanding of secular ethics in his books. And then during before the 1970s, maybe better say during, according to our ancient understanding, maybe I can say like this, the ethics, whenever we are talking about, there's not mentioned about seculars, but it's just ethics. Whenever we are talking about ethics, so it's always related with religion. like Christianity, Islam, and any other religions, right? And most world religion, or all world religion, talking about good behaviors and love and kindness and all these things. The reason or explanation about this subject always refer to their own beliefs. For example, according to Buddhism, we're talking about immediately karma and good deeds, bad deeds. If you do this, there's a very good karma. The word karma is, of course, somehow strongly connected with spiritualities, such as the Hindus, such as Jain or whatever, and Buddhism as well. So therefore, the backing or background is always connected with the karma. And because at that time, the global relationship or whatever, it's not so strongly connected to each other like today. So the people live their own circles. So for example, Tibetans are living more or less only in Tibet. Just few goes out, but just only for the business purpose and nothing else. And more or less no one goes to live to India or China or wherever. Just only go for the business purpose. And after they finish the business, just 2 months or so, then come back and live in Tibet. So therefore, it is everything is focused in our own environment, in our own surround. Although, never mind. So therefore, we just focusing on our case, and our situation, and our environment, our society. So nothing else. And so because of that, I usually just estimate, my estimate is about 75% of Tibetan populations are Buddhist, or Buddhist. And then maybe 20% are Pen religion, which is ancient religion of Tibet. And then it remains 5% more. The 5%, among the 5%, some maybe 3% are Muslims and 2% Christian, maybe less. So, however, everybody engage with some sort of religion. There are, none of them cannot say there's a non-believer. And no Tibetan says, I don't believe any religion, and so on and so forth. But now the time has changed, and there are so many, over 10 billions or more, maybe more, the population in the world are non-believers, right? And from then, so anyway, never mind. So therefore, we also need to adjust adjust to everybody's needs, everybody's interests, everybody's. So anyway, after all, we have to, we would like to, we need to support, help, and taking care of others. So this is our main task. As Buddhists, this is the main task. And main task of, main purpose or main goal is not to achieve Buddhahood, right? So as Buddhism, as a Buddhist, our main goal is proper benefit for the others. This is our main task, main aim. In order to fulfill or in order to, fulfill, fully benefit for the others, we need to be able to do so. So therefore, we need to reach the enlightenment. So without having that state of Buddha, we have so many. What's that? So there are so many lacks of abilities, and if you want to help, of course, you need to have that certain position to be able to help others. So therefore, it is important. You must be fit to help others. So, for example, if you want to help or save someone from the river, so you must be fit. Either you are in the other side of the river, or you must be good in swimming. So otherwise you cannot help those people who are in a danger in the river, right? So therefore you must be fit. So therefore we need to achieve the enlightenment. Enlightenment is not our goal, but our main goal is to fully support the benefit for the others. So therefore, we need to change. We need to adjust, not change, but we need to adjust the others' need, others' interests, others' whatever. So that's the main things. That's the main things. And then, so therefore, the Buddhism is such a I don't know whether should I say religion or study or idea. So in the religions, everything is inside, not 100% religion, because according to, if you want to explain thoroughly the meaning of a religion, it's somehow because the word religion coming not from the Tibetan language or Tibetan idea, but from the European language. So therefore somehow it's connected. As soon as you're talking about religion, so there is God. And this God produced, everything is related or produced by the God. So therefore there's some sort of the strongly link with the God and to follow God's wishes and so all this idea, this idea is connected, strongly connected. So therefore some scientists, from the academic point of view, Buddhism is not a religion. This is also related to that idea, I think. So Buddhism is actually some idea, some thought, which helps to us in the sense of without having the boundary. although we should talk about today only for the secular ethics, but somehow it comes also together. So although we are talking, we as Buddhists talking about three jewels and the Buddhas and this kind of concept is, of course, some sort of center point, but never be fixed, never be so strongly connected that we have to follow the Buddha's word. But Buddhas give us ideas which way can be, should be, could be good for us as a beneficial way. So therefore, we need to think. We need to. We are not to. No, don't need. No. So otherwise, I'll come in front. Yes. Thank you so much for your concern. So anyway, this there. So therefore, Buddhism is very much. How should I say? Buddha himself give us so much chance to choose from his doctrine. So therefore, we as Buddhist practitioner need to choose from the way, from the teachings, which are for us more beneficial than some other ideas. So therefore, it's necessary to be able to change or shift or choose from their Buddha's teaching, maybe we can say. So therefore, what I'm going to say is, Buddha's teaching is basically not based on so-called religion, but it's based on the benefit for yourself. Benefit for yourself means, so now it goes directly to the lojong, training of your mind, right? So the benefit for yourself means main purpose of your benefit for you is support to the others. So at the end it comes back to that idea. So therefore, support to the others is main purpose for myself, for my benefit. So I think that's enough. So then, I saw this book just 1 hour before. It's on the table. I just looked and found some very useful remarks. So therefore, beneficial to the others, what do you mean? It does mean it's some sort of concern about society. And the word secular appears or refers to a few different kinds of understanding. And some part of word under the secular understand that the idea which is against to the religion. Some other thought, understanding of secular is not to follow the religion. Some other, including India, is without sectarian, respect all religion, including those who are not non-believers, include non-believers. To all these different kinds of people, different kinds of idea need to be respected. And then, of course, we need to be respected. Respect to those people who follow this religion, that religion, or without religion, or communist, or whatever. So all these people need to be respected. So this is the India's explanation, and India's constitution is based on that ideology or way of thinking, and the Dalai Lama is based here. But Dalai Lama's thought is based on that understanding. And Dalai Lama's first visit to Europe was in 1973. At that time, he visited a few European countries, including Germany. So at that time, I was one of the organizer. That's right, organizer. And he gave also some talks. And so during these talks in the European countries, he didn't use the word of secular ethics, but the meaning applies. He applies the meaning of secular ethics in his talks. So that was he started to introduce secular ethic. And then he always thinking, he has, I'm sure all of you you understood that, or yes, understood that Dalai Lama has 3+1 purpose as his responsibility as a Dalai Lama. The number one is harmony in all human levels. Number two is harmony between the world religions or all religions. Number three is support to Tibet. And +1 is this. Actually, he introduced this number 4, maybe since 2 years or something like that. And that ancient Indian knowledge give back to Indians. So that means all our root study texts, such as Shantideva's text, such as Nagarjuna's text, such as Asanga's text, and all these that the Dalai Lama introduces 17 Panditas. What is a Pandita in English? Noble or wiser, great teachers, great Indian teachers, 17 great Indian teachers who composed so many philosophical and Buddhist, how should I say, teachings, which those we Tibetans studied it. Or Tibetan Buddhism is actually based on the written or literature from these 17 masters. So I forgot what I'm talking about this now. So, however, so that's right. And then, so as all these very important manuscript or not manuscript texts coming from the India, but now in India the knowledge of all this very much run down or maybe more or less lost. So therefore, he is going to teach these texts to the Indians, and he wishes the Indian will keep their own ancient literature and understanding and ancient knowledge. That's right, ancient knowledge. So therefore, giving back to the Indian. Because of it is great help for the human or the mankind. So these are the Dalai Lama's fourth responsibility of his life. So what I'm going to say is, all these literatures, all this knowledge is focused benefit for the others, but still the way of approaching is need to be changed. Need to be changed. It doesn't mean these and that points are not necessary, or this is normal up to date, or something like that. But it's, he picks up these and these things are very much related with our human life, with our life. And of course, as Buddhists, we're thinking about the next life and so on and so forth. But before we are thinking and taking care of our next life, we must survive very positive way in this life. Without having good life, this good life, so there's not much way to think about the next life. It again comes with the karmic cause and conditions and cause and result, everything. But for the time being, it's not time to talk about cause and condition or cause and effect. But it's really obviously experienced in our very life. So therefore, respect to all different kinds of, all those who have different kinds of ideas and so on and so forth. And so therefore, instead of talking it's a virtue or non-virtue, it's a sinful, sinful is, from the Buddhist point of view, definitely not correct word, because we cannot accept sin, right? The sin has another ideological, another ideology is behind. It's something that comes from God and so on, adjust with God and so on. Therefore, so actually I also mentioned in that my 40 verses. So therefore, sin we cannot use, as Buddhists cannot use this word. So, for example, ex-husband of one of my niece, he goes to go for work, and he meets regularly Christian father, and then this father tries to give him different kinds of the texts about Christianity, and later he insisted that the ex-husband of my niece, so you must study this, otherwise you couldn't reach to the God. And he felt it's a bit too much, because someone insisted after day by day, month by month. So then he said, I'm not interested to go to God. So since that time, the communication is finished. So therefore, if you have no interest, there's not use to try to approach so this way. But you must think other way if you are really interested, help to to the others. And so therefore, we need to think about which way it's a benefit for our lives. Lives means your life and the others' lives. So therefore, it comes back into the actually depends on our conduct, or maybe better say, it depends on the way of communication. We as human beings cannot live, cannot survive without having a relationship to each other. So therefore, we have to communicate with all these people, all these people. So since we need to be, and we have to be, communicate with them, then it's good to have a good communication. And the method or cause of good communication, it depends on our behaviors. Behavior including our physical appearances and the way of your talking, and then of course mainly coming from your mental attitude. How and what are you thinking about him or her? And then accordingly you communicate with her or with him, and you communicate verbally and physically. And whenever you feel, how should I say, feel some sort of ignore the others, so then you will show your face not very friendly. And if you don't show friendly face or friendly gestures, so then of course through this reaction, the other people will not be that happy with you. So because of that, at the end, it comes back to you just like boomerang. If you like to have very good life, very happy life, this happy cannot be, how should I say, only if you live alone. Of course, there's a short period, there are possibilities to be happy, be alone. But for the long run, to be happy life, you must have good company. If you have bad company, you will not be happy. So good company comes not only from their self, but you must make good company. If you be a friend with them, they will be friend to you. This perfectly comes with the Lojong idea at this point. And it's not saying if you show ugly face, it's a bad karma or something like that. Then it's absolutely wrong. So wrong means there are two. Top-down ethics and bottom-up ethics. There are two ways. Top-down ethics is, because that's the Buddha's word. This is your Lama's word. This is mentioned in the book. So therefore, you must respect. So that means if I say directly, the discussion is finished. So this is absolutely incorrect. Not even in secular ethics level, but also in Buddhism. Buddhist, how should I say, contents. Bottom-up ethics, it's needful, it's necessary because of your own life, because of the society where you are living. It's necessary. It's more or less, if I may say, you are forced to be adjust others. You are forced to live together with others harmoniously, because you are loving yourself. None of us don't like to be bad human beings. As written in my booklet, what's the name of that? Being a good human being. So there are some points are also connected with this. Since you would like to be a good human being, so then you must produce good nature. So then you'll be a good human being. So this is actually, this is all, how should I say, more or less basic idea of that, basic idea of the secular ethics. Basic. Could you please take it out, the tea? It will be too strong. Take it out. Just put some water. Thank you. Just add some water. So therefore, it's very, very interesting to think about this. Once I was here for a short time, 10 days or two weeks or something like that. I spent, my wife wasn't with me, and I slept in the center, and because of jet lag, I couldn't sleep during the night, and then I got at that time Dalai Lama's book with me about the secular ethics. I studied it quite thoroughly, and I was so much astonished and so much surprised. And my understanding of secular ethics was through this reading or studying this book opened. And so therefore, actually we have all the materials in Lamrim and especially in Lojong part of training of your mind, right? Everything is there, but our reason was so that's non-virtues. If you do this, it's a non-virtue. If you do this, it's a virtue, and then good deeds and bad deeds, and so on. The reason was wrong, if I may say. So the reason need to be, even Dalai Lama's talks today, he is saying, please don't talk about good karma, bad karma, and virtue or non-virtue, but replace with needful, necessary, or not necessary. These things change, replace. And de facto, can you say in English de facto? In fact, it's the same. And this, what I find, is a very, very clever idea. And Dalai Lama's way of thinking is very much scientific, very much scientific, and very much focused on the science, and of course, Lojong and Buddhist philosophy, and all together. And so it's however he explain us, it's really not only profound, but it's very understandable and logical. There will not be chance to have some sort of blind faith. And blind faith is very much, if I may say, influenced in our Buddhist practice. And just for example, many people, even now, gradually in the Western society as well, Western Buddhist society as well, and especially in our Tibetan, Chinese, and Asian mentalities, of course, very much strongly involved to think, if there are someone, say, one person came, and then he said, oh, he's Turku, he's Rinpoche. Or then immediately to this respect. But we don't know him at all. Whether he is a very clever man, very learned man, or very stubborn man, and without having any knowledge, and a very naughty Rinpoche, whatever, right? No one thinking about it. If you hear about the Rinpoche, you are just thinking automatically, oh, if he's Rinpoche, it must be perfect person. No way, no way. So this is the blind faith. This is the blind faith. And if you study thoroughly about him or her, and then gradually you will generate respect because of these so many good reasons. Then it's quite all right, right? So therefore, this kind of the one thing Dalai Lama said, we Buddhists need to be a Buddhist of 21st century. He always saying that. What's the Buddhist of 21st century? 21st century Buddhist. So that means Buddhists who are knowledgeable, who have understanding of Buddhism through the learning. And opposite of that is what's the word? Superstitious. Who are superstitious? Superstitious. So therefore, it is in fact, it's those who are superstitious deceive you and deceive your society. So, coming back to our main talks, which way we need to be? Which way is correct way for the secular ethics? We need to change our character. Main character is not really not only talking about your external appearances, but the way of your talking, way of your gestures, including the way of showing your face. So these are the main. I have some notes from Dalai Lama, which comes from some first part of Dalai Lama's book on Lamrim, which I served him to put together. So there's this, and it's most important for us. Which kind of our mental attitude need to be changed? Maybe Pepe, could you please come here and help me?
Rivals.
Yes, rivals and desire, greed, mercilessness, anger, and resentment, jealousy or envy, and pride, and then, of course, lying, deceive speech, deceive
divisive
speech, and harsh, using harsh word, and senseless talk, and covetousness, and harmfulness or harmful intent, and these are the main words that we need to change, because if you have one of this mental disposition, it disturbs you. It disturbs you in the sense of not only you yourself, but your society. I always giving the example. If you are traveling with 10 persons, 9 persons always very joyful, very happy, very friendly, but one is one day so, one day another day so, and then 9 people are having breakfast and very joyful, very happy, and the 10th person who is not very nice, as soon as he came in the room, he can, without saying anything, they destroy all the harmonies, the 9 people. And we can imagine, right? We are very happy, very joking and talking, and someone very angry man comes, and we just ignore, just being like how you are. It's not possible. Oh, now he's come, and don't talk to him so much. Otherwise, he'll be more angry. He'll get more angry, and he will score us. And so, therefore, all the happiness of the 9 persons destroyed from one man. So, therefore, one man has such a power to destroy the rest of 9 persons. These 9 persons is that for the time is one society. So therefore, we are living in this world, we are working, we are studying together with many peoples. So therefore, we need to be adjusted. We need to respect and consider others' benefit and others' welfare. No one would like to meet someone not very nice. So everybody waiting for the happiness and a happy person to meet a happy person, very joyful and very friendly person. For example, if I feel not so happy, and someone come and joke, making jokes and very happy, so my sadness or whatever has disappeared because he influenced me, that his harmony, feeling or attitude. It helps me. So therefore, there's the relationship, or better say, in that way we can see how we are related with others' environment or others' attitude. In fact, we are in one family. In the family gatherings, it's also same. If someone is not very happy and making always some problems, so then it's difficult in the family, right? So therefore, it's very much important to consider this. And then I always try to explain that, for example, as long as you have harmful intent or intention to harm the others, it wouldn't be, it wouldn't come out nicely. And as long as you're talking about very rubbish things and very harmful and without respect others' interests, just using the sharp words, harsh words, and so on, right? And this is unnecessary. And what we need is, we need a little bit more, how should I say, consideration. We need to more think about which way will be good to talk, or which way may not be good to talk to others. As you remember, I think I gave also talk on the Atisha's jewel garlands of what? Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva. The last word is, if you're alone, watch your mind. If you're in a company, watch your mouth. That means with your word. And we will never be alone for a long time. And every day we're meeting someone. We're working with someone. We're studying with someone. We're cooking with someone. We're chatting with someone. Always connected. Always, connected with, or related with communication with others. So since we have to communicate others, why don't we do nicely, correctly, right way? So therefore, we need to more take care how you are using word, how you are thinking, and why don't you show your face a little bit more friendly? The Tsongkhapa's verse, one of the Tsongkhapa's verse, it's from the Goya Samaja text, I think. During your listened teachings, and you need to be very good, you have to good motivation, benefit for the others, and you need to be happy mind and delighted mind in order to receive this. And because that, you also need to show smiling face. While you're receiving teaching, you need to show your smiling face with happy. If you're happy, of course, smile comes automatically, right? And you are very unhappy, but smiling, it's good. This combination is a bit difficult. This combination is a bit difficult. So therefore, it's if you're happy, smiling comes out. So otherwise, the smiling can be smiling by the politicians. So that's a bit. This another matter. This another matter. So, however, it's communication way is most crucial for our life, and it's if you're talking from one side, of course, talking about the Buddhist way of thinking, but the other side is more realistic, which is a suit for everybody, with and without having any religious thought. So therefore, to be to produce harmonies is very, very important, and the using word is most crucial, I think, because we, as I mentioned, we have to talk. We are talking more or less non-stop, and then since we are talking so much, then why we don't talk quite nicely? Just meaning or subject can be same, but the way of approach can be different. Instead of, I don't want that. So I can say, I don't like this, or something like that. Just not reject immediately to the others. Why are you doing this? This kind of things is quite difficult. So therefore, we need to be more think, more awareness, aware how you are talking, why you are talking, which way you are talking. All these things need to be considered. And I mentioned so many, quite a number of words. And these words is really, for me, it's very important to recognize, to understanding what's the what. And on top of that, it's also very important to have forgiveness, patience. And if you are ready to forgive, if you're ready to understand others, so you'll be very much, you feel much more freer. Otherwise, we make ourselves, by ourselves, put into difficult position. So that means at the end, it's our own, it depends on our own attitude. If you have a good attitude, if you are strong enough, so then you'll always be ready to listen everything. Whatever, even if someone shout to you, you wouldn't be hurt that much. So you will think, oh yeah, he's always like that, because he's whatever this is his way of talking. But never mind, just forgive. So these are the crucial. These are the crucial, and these are the only concepts. Concept in the sense of something, mental state which you produced by yourself. And without having proper understanding of secular ethics, there's no way to practice Buddhism at all. We are talking about, especially very much focus on the so-called Ngondro, especially very much emphasized in our Kaji tradition and Nyingma tradition. And the Ngondros are doing what was that? Recitation of a refugee and Vajasattvas and prostrations, mandala offerings. These are Ngondro. Ngondro means, Ngon means ahead. Dro means, if I translate directly, goes to. So that means those practices which need to be done ahead before you are doing main Tantra practice, right? But the way of mentalities, as I mentioned earlier, the people regarded, the Tibetans are regarded, everybody have a strong connection. The word faith, I'm really not that sure it's correct or not, but strong, what did I say? Strong belief or connected with mainly Buddhism, as well as Pen. So Pen as Buddhism is now become more and more together. So it's really quite difficult to make separate or distinguish, right? Except they don't accept Buddha Shakyamuni as a real teacher, and so on and so forth. They all have their three jewels, their own set separately. So, but otherwise, all the doctrines are, maybe I can say, 90%, 95% the same. So, however, what I'm going to say is, so therefore, whenever the Tibetan Lamas gave teachings, they understood. They think it's all are practitioner. So therefore, they don't need to talk that much the fundamental way of thinking, whatever. So now, as time has changed, circumstances, situations also changed or others. So therefore, before we're talking about bodhicitta, enlightenment, and all these things, we have to have a reliable ground, mental ground. So if you have even if you're from Buddhist point of view, if you're thinking from Buddhist point of view, if you are fully commitment with delusions, there's no way to make understandable. There's no way to give reliable and understandable teachings. Teaching itself, of course, it's sort of how should I say, method through which you varnish or remove the delusions, but still you must be ready to understand that. So therefore, we must have this as a fundamental, if you like, you can say practice. So, if I may, to link with the Buddhist practice, we're talking about for immeasurable practice, which are the crucial practice. We practice this immeasurable, for immeasurable practice ahead or at the beginning of our practice, right? Because we need to have a fundamental fundamental attitude correctly. So likewise, so we need to be coming back, or our general mental disposition, which I counted all these things, these are need to be correct. If you are ready this, then of course it's much easier to practice Buddhism more faster and without having that much problems. Dalai Lama's, according to Dalai Lama's ethics, secular ethics, secular ethic is based on scientific evidence, yes, scientific evidence. I forgot my hearing aid, to use hearing aid. And then, number one. Number two is, this is the common experience, all human beings. And then number three is, you need to use your own common sense, or general common sense. So this is very, very clear, because you shouldn't use harsh words, okay? For example, using harsh words, no one says, oh, it's fantastic to use harsh words. No one says this. Everybody don't like, or don't like to hear harsh words from the others. If they don't like, why are you using? Are you interested to hear from the other harsh words, using harsh words? Of course not. If you don't like, the other will also don't like. So therefore, it's always from out of your own experience, you can make judgment, and then you can understand. Other will also be not happy if I do this and that things. So these are the very much crucial. And he also mentioned, whenever I feel, I also had so many experiences. If I show, even yesterday I was in the hospital, and on the way there, we met several workers, and I just smiled. It comes, not everybody, but many of them smile back. We have no any other big meaning behind. Because I would like to, I'm not smiling. I'm smiling. Purpose of benefit or whatever. It's nothing, but just the same human beings. And I smiled, and he felt, oh, this is also nice attitude. He smiles back. Because I'm also happy. Because he was happy. This correspondence always there. And then I like very much use YouTubes. And in YouTube's Dalai Lama's talks and teachings, and my friend Samdang Rinpoche and many other Rinpoches. I would like to listen only in Tibetan, but with English or other language, I can't understand. I cannot understand that much. And so then I make a note, and sometimes I make a full, complete write down. It's very useful because I can stop, then write down, and when I finish, then continuously listen and write down. So therefore, I can write down 100% whatever he said. To some other Lama's teaching, it's not necessary to listen again. So this is a waste of time sometimes. Yes. And then, so whatever I'm going to say is, Dalai Lama become very famous. Why? Because Dalai Lama? No. Because he came from Tibet? No. Because he's Buddhist? No. But because he talks to the public about their own, how can get the beneficial life. beneficial, beneficial life, happy life. How can they produce their own happy life? And which way will be correct, developed, happy life? Not talking about Buddhism, not talking about Buddha and next life or nothing, but only the down to the earth, in this very life. How can we solve our problems? From which area or which part of your life produced or influenced become unhappy life? All these introduce, and thorough introduce helps the people, and because of so many talks about loving kindness and human communication, harmony communication, harmonious communication. So because that, since over 20 years, there are several schools in America set up the value of mankind as school subject. So therefore, you are Singaporean, can try to gradually set up something, this kind of secular ethics as subject, as a school subject, because of the today's life, very much lack of knowledge of secular ethics, because the developed countries focus mainly external development, and so therefore somehow the lack of interest in your own ethics of good human beings are very much, how should I say, not enough to introduce. And for several decades ago, of course, for example, in Europe, the religious teaching in the school is always there. Because of that, there also comes a little bit ethics and that same subject, religious subject. But now the people have free, either you join the religious lessons or not, religious class or not, you are free. So therefore, many people don't want to send their children to the religious classes, religious lessons. So then even become even less teachings about the ethics. So ethics is very much, it's crucial for our happiness. Ethics cannot be introduced by force, but you must try to understandable. You must try to approach the understandable way, because it's necessary, it's beneficial, it's anyway crucial for the happy life. All these things need to be put in the front. So therefore, as I mentioned, since over 50 years, Dalai Lama expressed all these teachings, all these ideas, give to the public, so it shows very good result. And recently, there were 10 men and 10 women in the world, those who are most respected person, regarded as a respected person. Dalai Lama is one of the 10 men. So this is because of his talks, his support to the mankind, benefit in order to reach their benefited life. So therefore it is the most important to understand all these things. And love and kindness is nothing it's nothing artificial attitude, but it's really genuine and basic interest of not only human beings, but all sentient beings. Because since our childhood, since our baby's time, or even maybe during while we are in the mother's womb, the mother is only person that we are related or rely on it, right? And then after giving birth, then of course without having her, special her, kindness and love, there's no way, we didn't have no chance to survive. And gradually, whenever we meet someone who are very kind to us, it helps us. It helps mental level, physical level. Dalai Lama says, if you don't drink, you can survive without tea, but you cannot survive without water. So likewise, you can survive without religion, but you cannot survive without secular ethics. Secular ethics in the sense of love and kindness. Love and kindness is crucial. Love and kindness is the most genuine attitude of sentient beings. So these are the actually main short introduce which way that we taking care of ourselves without rely on, without based on. I think based on is also a very good word. Based on any religion, right? So these are the maybe short introduction for today's. And we are all have more and less. Some people have very much, very strong interest in Buddhism. Some have somehow interest, but not much knowledge. But however, there are something with some connections there. Would like to also more generate it. But if you don't understand the fundamental points, how can I change my mind? Whether it's possible to change my mind, my mental disposition, without knowing, it's difficult. to practice Buddhism. Just reciting something, just pray or something. It's, we're talking about accumulation of merit and so on and so forth. These are wonderful, but we don't know. But if you change your mental attitude, we know that's very helpful. Thank you so much. So if you have some questions, please.
Well, I thought you were raising your hand for a question. Any questions? You can raise up your hand and I'll go to you with the mic. You want to ask us questions?
Sorry? No one question. That's good. Then I'm afraid.
No?
So, thank you so much.
No,
You're not. Thank you so much. Not having questions.
Thank you, Rinpoche, your teaching, and thank you, Rinpoche, for your teaching, and thank you so much for coming back to Singapore.
Yay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And
Thank you.
yeah, how to be a good human being is something that we all strive to be one. And your little book has got 52 verses, one a week to practice. But it's not difficult. It's not very easy to practice to be a good human being. And sometimes we have to try very hard. But I know I haven't progressed, so I want to ask for advice. How to become a good human being. And faster. Faster.
Well, I know that you are very much interested in that. A little pamphlet, and you mentioned, I appreciate very much to pay attention or interest in that. Of course, we got used to it not to be in good nature, good behaviors. So therefore, to correct this, it's extremely difficult. But it's worth it to do so. And if you apply day by day, year by year, of course it will be possible to change it. But hoping or expecting to change within a very short period, it's not realistic. So one should have more, what's the name of that? What's the word of that? Patience. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Rinpoche, so how do we know what we believe in is superstitious or not superstitious? Because if I believe in something, usually I would think, oh, this is not superstitious. So how do we differentiate the line between superstitious and non-superstitious?
Superstitions and not superstitions depends on their whether they are reliable, logical reason or not. This is my first answer. Second answer, reliable, logical reason, it's also limited. You need to be making more clear. Maybe this is for your point of view, your own point of view, logical reason, reliable, which is reliable. But in fact, it's not that reliable. It's somehow some logic, but it's not so that logical. So then you go into further and further. At the end, we need to be logical reason or reason for the logical way of thinking, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. many reasons need to be behind. And it's carefully accept is crucial. That means if someone says, "Oh, that's wonderful," then I think, "Oh, this must be wonderful because he is a reliable person," or whatever. That's not enough. What he's saying, that other man, Turku or whatever, Gishi or whatever, is great. Why he is saying? Then I'm thinking, yeah, because he has very good connection with him. Therefore, from his own point of view, that one's very reliable Turku. But if you ask another one, they will say, "Oh, that's okay, he's okay." So this answer destroyed others' logical view. So therefore, whether it's how should I say, logical can be really logical answer, but cannot be. Not necessarily. It's extremely correct without having other arguments. That's difficult. Yes. And if I say following things, it may not be answer for clarified your answer, your question, but it may be more confused. But however, the Dalai Lama said in his Lama book, which I composed, which I put together. Maybe I mentioned already last time, I don't remember. There are 4 persons. Person A, B, C, D. Person A is teacher. Person B is his disciple. Person C is person A's good friend. Person D is person A's enemy. So then, now, what is the person A? Person A, from the point of view, person B is real Buddha, enlightened. For the person C, he's a very good fellow. Very joyful, very good fellow. Person D, he sees him the worst person. So what is the person A? Is person A a combination of devil and enlightened, or what? So therefore, we always need to say, it depends from what? From which point of view? From whose point of view? This is always like this. So therefore, whenever you see, for example, my teacher, I regard as whatever, but there's one word, German word, but I don't remember the English. Whatever I think is only for me. It's not necessarily for the others. The other have or has a different point of view, different attitude. So therefore, it's difficult. So thank you so much. Then have a good evening. Thank you.